get a really clear picture of where you were when you started, what made you take back control of your health the way you did, and just talk us through the situation as it was before you started with us.
Yeah. Okay. Cheers, Chris. I guess thinking back, I've been someone who'd always been pretty fit when I was younger. So I played a lot of football. I played a lot of cricket. When I was at school, I sort of ran, athletics at a sort of borough level. And then I guess went to university, started work, got a career, and kind of year by year, it kind of just started to fall away. And then probably the last 5 to 10 years, I've done a lot of travel as well, both within the UK and internationally. And it becomes just quite hard to manage what you're eating, exercise. Then recently had a daughter as well. So yeah, all of that exercise and fitness, even though I've never been a gym rat, I've always played active competitive sport. And then I guess you do less and less of that. You start to eat more and more. Obviously, the drinking comes in as well as you get into your sort of 20s and 30s. And I guess I tried for ages probably to try and get back into it and get a certain level of fitness, but I just tried and failed so many times. The initial conversation we had was about me going through periods where I was on it, and I was running 3-4 times a week, and then I'd do nothing for 3 months. So I'd kind of reduced my weight by sort of half a stone, and then over the following 3 months, basically just put it all back on again, and I was just getting nowhere.
Yeah, it's such a common story as well, Stu, for, your job's very high pressured. There's a lot of demand on you to be, or to deliver your job pretty much 24 hours a day, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be.
And, within that, we see with a lot of the guys that we work with, they get caught in this cycle of trying something, putting all the effort in, being consistent for 2 or 3 weeks, and then giving up, or work taking over. So yeah. What was your actual physical position at the start? And in terms of, you saw your weight creep up, what else had become a concern for you?
Well, the weight creeps up again. It was very, very gradual. So it was only because I'd gone through phases of using things like MyFitnessPal. And, when I started the program, I was probably just under 14 stone. But then you look at some of the things you didn't put into the app, and it's like, well, 4 years ago, it was 13 stone, not 14 stone. So it kind of crept up on me, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I guess I turned 40 this year, and the lockdowns as well had an effect. So I was used to traveling, and then suddenly I had all of this, time on my hands that I'd have previously been traveling.
Yeah.
And then the second lockdown in the summer, I think, it just got to the point where I was almost drinking every day. I think it was my separation between working in my office and then transitioning to family time in the evening. So I just found I was having 1 or 2 beers every day with my dinner. Whereas I think previously when I was traveling, that separation between leaving work and then coming home was spending time on the train.
Yeah, it's quite
or in an aircraft, or the commute home in the car. Yeah. So I missed that separation, I think.
Yeah.
And it just got to the point where I just felt it. I've just turned 40. If I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And I'd done an online program before, but it wasn't tailored. So it was, someone gave you a program, but it was a generic program, and that just didn't work, and I didn't stick at it. So
yeah. Which leads us quite nicely then to, when you started the program with us, how was it different?
I guess the interaction. So from day one, I did the 1 week taster session that you do.
Yeah.
So I'd had that. I'd found that quite interactive. And then, there's the Facebook group where you've got, it feels like you've got support because you've got, other people going through the same thing as you. Yeah. And then I think it was the weekly accountability. So I'm a guy that is structured but not structured, if you know what I mean. So I don't like rigid structure. So having everything timetabled just isn't me, because my work life is like that. So outside of my work life, I like it to be a bit more fluid. So I think having the structure of, you probably need to go to the gym 3 times a week, but then having the ability to determine when in the week that is, so I can do it when I feel like it. Because generally that's what I do. When I'm in the mood, I do it and I'm on it. But if I'm not in the mood, I don't.
Yeah,
Whereas other people are quite structured and they do something at a certain time every single week. Because I just can't do that. So
you found that specificity to how you work helpful.
yes, definitely. And I don't know what my working hours are going to be. So I work with clients. So sometimes a client needs something. So, you know, just having it in your diary to do exercise at a certain time of the week sometimes just doesn't work.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how it ran for you, didn't it? It was very
Yeah.
much like, this is what we want you to achieve over the next 7 days.
Yeah.
And do it, rather than we need you to do this at Monday at 4 o'clock. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes it meant then I went into the weekend and I was doing a lot to kind of catch up over the weekend, but that's just the way my life is. That worked for me.
I think that's the biggest thing, isn't it? You know, finding something that works around your lifestyle rather than the way around is how you get that longevity. So
Exactly.
your total weight loss now then is coming up to 2 stone, isn't it?
Yeah, about 1.5 stone. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And what other changes have you found then as part of this kind of improvement upon your health?
So I found I've had more energy. You know, sometimes getting up in the morning was a struggle.
Yeah.
And then I'd find I'd have those, you know, those sort of mid-afternoon crashes after lunch. And that was probably from just eating the wrong things. So it's those sugar crashes. Because I was never a guy that had breakfast. And you know, to be honest, a lot of the times I'd get busy at work and I wouldn't have lunch either, and then I'd probably have a ginormous dinner then in the evening. But I think I learned this on the kind of taster session that first week, where it was all about diet, to be honest, rather than fitness, because I think that's the first thing you have to probably fix. And actually just having the breakfast in the morning and making sure I'm having a bit of protein made a lot of difference to me, I think. And then the other thing was the meal preps. So making sure that I had the right food on hand made a big difference. So I'm consistently eating breakfast and lunch now. And then I'm finding myself not being hungry through the day. Because I think when you are hungry, it's when you make those bad food choices, isn't it? So you just reach for what's there, what's easy in the cupboard, which tends to be the crap.
Yeah, completely, mate. And that's going to be so common for other guys listening to this. Eating convenient food, eating on the go, being reactive to their level of hunger rather than, you know, in a position where they can think about it first. So where did you see your health going before you started them?
Basically, it wasn't that I had concerns per se, but you know, there's always those risks. It's just like, you know, if every year my weight keeps creeping up, you know, am I going to look back in 10, 15 years time and regret something? Or is it going to be too late then to start to kind of turn it around? So I guess that's what kick-started me. We had conversations about, you know, potential for diabetes and things like that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's, you know, because you have such big time constraints for you. That was the biggest challenge for you, wasn't it? Fitting something in that allowed you to get these results while you could still be at work as much as you needed to be at work.
Exactly, yeah. The other thing as well, I think, was finding something that I enjoyed. Because if I enjoy doing something, then I think I'm very likely to stick at it.
Well, you had said, didn't you, at the start, you'd never really got into weight training, which is something we encourage you to do. And now that is something you tend to enjoy quite a bit.
Yeah, I was previously I was doing loads of cardio.
Yeah.
I think that was driven by playing lots of team sports. So everything that I did involved a lot of running.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was cricket or football, athletics, it was always aimed around cardio rather than weight training. So I did what I knew, and I didn't know anything about weight training.
Exactly. And would you say you get pulled into that, which we see a lot, you get pulled into that mentality of, if I'm doing something which is kind of hard, I'm sweating, that's got to be more effective than anything else, yeah?
Yeah, no, exactly. I always felt that I had to be like massively out of breath for it to be a good session. Whereas that's not the way it is at all.
It's such a big misconception, isn't it? Which, think what barrier that creates in someone's head. You know, I've got to go and exercise, but it's got to be really hard, and I haven't got the time or the energy to actually do that.
Yeah.
This is what forces men to put off actually getting started on something, isn't it?
Yeah. Although surprisingly, if you are doing the right weight training, you do actually get out of breath. Some of the things I've been doing that, yeah, especially like some of the bigger compound movements actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do the right number of reps of those, you find yourself a bit out of breath. Yeah.
100%. So for you now then, how would you describe the difference in your body, in how you feel, in how you approach exercise, fitness, health?
Well, quite a bit slimmer.
Yeah.
But it's to be honest, a lot of it is more about body composition, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I look a lot leaner. That's probably the biggest thing. I mean, a lot of the time, if I'm fully dressed, actually, you don't notice that much difference.
Mm-hmm.
I think, as we said before, I wasn't maybe that overweight before. We've said probably just a bit more out of shape.
Yeah.
The energy thing has been massive for me. So I feel that I'm more productive in work
Okay.
because I've got more energy throughout the day. So I'm getting more work done in probably in less time.
It's pretty
Which
mega.
also then gives you more time to do the exercise piece.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is just prioritizing the exercise. There have been times I've just shut down for the day and gone, actually, I need to get my exercise in.
Yeah. So what's been the thing that's been, what's the thing that's allowed that to be in place? That ability to say, I'm going to go and exercise, whereas previous you might have thought, sod that, I'll do it next week.
I think it's knowing what I need to do and what gives me results. So previously, I think I could have been on the treadmill for 2 hours for 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And then it makes a bit of difference, but not very much.
Yeah.
But now I know I can do probably 3 sessions a week of 45 minutes to an hour. And because I know what I'm doing, I'm probably burning more calories in that 45 minutes than previously I was burning in 2 hours.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. Which, again, so many people get, especially with guys, when it comes to working out, they get pulled into this quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Which again forms this barrier of, for me to be fit, I've got to be able to dedicate hours and hours and hours to doing it. Whereas, like you said there, in 3 45-minute sessions a week, you're more energy, leaner, more muscle tissue and less body fat, so a better body composition.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing for you there is you haven't got that barrier in your mindset to think, I haven't got time and I need to wait until I have got time to be able to do it.
Yeah, that was a big barrier for me, thinking I've got to put in 2 hours today, and then not having the energy as well.
Yeah.
You're working so hard. That was a big problem. But now in my mind, it's I need 45 minutes to an hour.
It's a lot more manageable. And
it is a lot more manageable, yeah.
And it's not every day either, which I think is another thing for you that helped massively, knowing that you could have days where you could plow into work and then you could have days where you could, right, I just need to keep this 45 minutes free.
Yeah, exactly.
So, for other guys in your situation, thinking of when you started, overrun, out of time, low on energy, grasping for any kind of level of fitness to where you are now, if you think there's so many men in your position from where you started, what would you say to them as this kind of new version of yourself?
What would I say to them? I just think try and, well, I always like the kind of science behind it, which I think a lot of our sort of weekly chats that we've had have been all about. It's kind of understanding the why. Because I think once you understand the science behind it, you become quite self-sufficient.
Yeah.
So even like adapting some of the things that you've given me, because I've had challenges with certain injuries that I've had from playing sport, and therefore I think you get an idea of things that you can do to change it. Or actually, if I've only got half an hour for a session, I think I know what to do to adapt it. Or even with the sort of meal plans and stuff with the eating. If I have a couple of bad days, then I know how to get back on track now.
Yeah.
So I think learning that sort of stuff and becoming self-sufficient, and then I think having goals has also been quite important to me. Having something to aim at, and then I think once you start seeing the results, I think I've then typically overachieved.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely.
So it's like the steps goal that we put in recently from just before Christmas. and we put in 7.5. We had a conversation around, actually, the goal just makes me get out. And once I get out there, I absolutely nail it.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing between 10 and 20,000 steps every day for over 2 weeks.
And that was a big thing for you, wasn't it? Again, it was almost just coaxing you out of that being in front of your computer and working.
Yeah.
As soon as we got you into that arena of fitness, your mindset completely switched and you just went all into it, which is why you've got such good results.
Well, I think a lot of guys are like in my position are very well, they're competitive and they're all or nothing. If they're doing a task, they are doing it sort of flat out. And that's what I found. So if I'm working, I'm in work mode. And then if I'm exercising, I'm in exercise mode, and I'm going to do what I kind of set myself in that session. So it's just, as long as I can get started, I'll accomplish what I need to.
Well, I think that's the thing, isn't it? A lot of guys have the skill set to be successful with their health because that's what makes them successful at work. The determination, the ability to kind of kick in and actually go at something quite hard. But it is just that disconnect of, I haven't got time to figure that fitness thing out or figure that health thing out. So as you are now then, the leaner, more athletic version, would you, if you were speaking to your previous self, what would you say?
Should have done it years ago.
Strong words.
Yeah. Okay. It's amazing just getting a bit of help about what I should be doing, and then implementing the structure and having the accountability. There's no massive changes actually that I've made.
No,
when I look back, I thought the diet was going to be quite difficult, but to be honest, it's been really easy because there's been no big changes, and if anything, I'm probably eating more now than I used to.
Yeah. Which I know for you said a couple of times, I don't actually feel like I'm on any kind of diet. I'm just...
No, I'm not at all. Yeah. So just eating the right things.
Yeah. So, I mean, you really did, from a client perspective, you ticked all the boxes, everything we want to achieve with someone, you did it. You got results, you became self-sufficient, you did everything we asked you to do. And now you're in a position where you feel completely like you're in control of your health, your fitness, your physique, which is the main thing. So where do you want to go next then with your health journey, do you think?
Who knows? I think that's the thing with this. I think once you realize that you can start to achieve results, your goals change almost weekly or monthly. So I think now that the weight is under control, the diet is, it's gone well all the way through, to be honest. I'm now starting to think about sort of muscle building a bit more.
Yeah.
But obviously on the start of that journey, although to be honest, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I think I'm already starting to see some results.